Suicune, but of course, we haven't actually seen either of the first two games with both players repeating their choices from yesterday, so I don't feel that comfortable predicting that they're going to stick with what they did yesterday.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see, aren't we going to, Russ?
Well, we have just seen XAbsoluted pick that Lucario. So Elm, I mean, we've seen nothing but Suicune from Elm all weekend so far. I would be very surprised to see him use anything else. He is known as a Suicune player. I believe he used Suicune in Worlds, but I quite like this Lucario pick from XAbsoluted here, because we don't see all that much Lucario. It's nice to see a little bit of a change-up.
Yes, we're going to see the Lucario versus Suicune matchup, and you know, in this matchup, I do believe Lucario has the advantage here. Suicune can't really do anything up close, as Lucario can go for a crouch and light, which is a very quick poking move, and that can cause lots of problems for Sceptile. Like if he goes for a low crouch and attack into Bone Rush, that could stuff out any option that Suicune might try and do. And
I have heard an awful lot about Lucario using that down and light attack just to get a little poking attack, as we call it, just to do a little bit of poke damage and set up for future attacks. It's something I've heard a lot of Lucario players talking very, very highly about, but it's Suicune that comes in quickly at the beginning and does the first significant damage.
Yes, now we see that we are now in duel phase. This is going to be very interesting to see what happens. We now see a Bone Rush coming out from Lucario, and it's just, you know, just little things that push them away. It's like, I push you away, you push me away. Just, that's how the neutral is right now. Suicune, I do believe, might try and keep his distance, possibly. We do see a nice grab coming out from the Lucario, which changes back into field phase. And
we've seen several Bone Rushes. We're going to see several more. Bone Rush really is Lucario's signature move in Pokken Tournament. Suicune coming in there, trying to get that counter attack. We're now back in duel phase, and a little bit of caginess being shown from the players here.
Yes, I don't believe these two have fought before, so they're going to be very wary of what each people are going to do. It's a case of, alright, let me see what you're going to do. If this works, then, you know, I feel more comfortable.
Oh, nice counter attack from Lucario there, straight into that Bone Rush. We do see Eevee, but punished a little bit, because we saw the Bone Rush as Eevee was coming out there, and really well done from Lucario, but he does get knocked back into field phase with that Aura Beam.
Yes, the Eevee, I do believe, was used in preparation for Lucario's burst, as you see right now. XAbsoluted, a fan of Jirachi, uses it in conjunction with Burst, and now we're just going to see what really happens here. It could be a situation where
Bone Rush coming in from Lucario. I have to interrupt you there because I'm too excited. Bone Rush coming in from Lucario, ending the round there, and XAbsoluted takes that first game with what else? A Bone Rush.
Yeah, that's pretty much how you end it with Lucario. Elm just wondering, you know, trying to see what he could do in that situation. I think that home attack was his best shot. Unfortunately, Bone Rush is actually a very quick move, and it kind of just went through Suicune and caused the round.
Yeah, it worked very, very nicely for him there, and he's actually working on the life lead this round. He's working on a little bit of a perfect as it stands at the moment. Gets the Bone Rush, Elm's down to about a third of his HP, and we see a counter attack hitting here into a Bone Rush. He's almost got it, and he hasn't taken a hit yet.
Yes, very nice reactionary play from XAbsoluted. I think he's just trying to keep his ground here, trying to shield so that he doesn't take a combo, which could do more damage than a grab, as we see right now.
We do see the grab. I was literally about to say, when is Elm going to start using those grabs? XAbsoluted is blocking a lot this game, and that is turning into a bit of a tower, which can be punished by a grab. But in comes the Jirachi here, and now we see the true Shikol. Yeah, he's blocking. It's not going to do much, but it does get a little bit of chip damage there, and now it's Elm's turn to block.
Yes, we see now Elm is just blocking, waiting for the time he does decide to grab, and he goes for a very nice prediction, jumping over to go for a critical hit into a combo. And now we see that he's literally on the, well, not so much on the pixel, but Elm's on the pixel, and I do believe this is literally
He's got him, and guess what attack it was? It was that low weak.
No, that's the low crouching that I was talking about earlier on.
You called it, Solomon, that little low crouching attack. There's that little poke attack, and it did the last 6 HP needed. And we see XAbsoluted taking that first set there. But of course, this is why we play a best of 5.
Yes, of course, a best of 5, meaning you have more room to download your opponent and hopefully strategize, formulate a plan that will work to your advantage later on in a few games.
Yeah, and of course Elm there, he's going to be asking himself, what can I do? What can I take advantage of that XAbsoluted showed me in that first round. I mean, we saw a lot of blocking from XAbsoluted initially, and then we saw Elm taking advantage of that with a grab. We might see more of that coming in. Maybe we're going to see more of a concerted zoning game from Elm, because we didn't see all that much of it in the first game. We don't know what we're going to see, but of course that's, I suppose, why we play the games.
Right on. So now we're into dual phase. We see now that Elm is kind of on the defensive. He doesn't want to really take a risk in trying to attack. And we see right here, he actually goes for a grab option, which gets stopped by the low crouch and attack into a bone rush.
It was that bone rush coming out again, taking advantage of the grab. Of course, normal attacks do beat grabs in our attack triangle. And now both players being a little bit cagey. And Suicune, gets hit with what else? A bone rush. And now we see XAbsoluted again on the offensive with the life lead as Eevee comes in for that helping hand.
Yes, bone rush is going to be very paramount in Lucario's gameplay against Suicune here, because that's a very good move to get yourself in so that Lucario can get something started. We do see a very nice counter-attack from Suicune that puts XAbsoluted into dual phase.
And he has turned the game around. Now we got Suicune with the life lead, but we do see the Mega Lucario coming out. Synergy Burst turning him from regular into Mega Lucario. And now we see him coming in there, getting those attacks off. But Suicune doing what Suicune does, trying to do the counter. It doesn't work. And this Aura Blast is going to hit and finish off the game.
Yes, that was a very scary situation for Elm right there. I don't really think he had much options, because Lucario was in burst. He can, do certain attacks like a forward strong attack, which could lead into a burst. He also has his bone rush as well, his low crouching attack, and Zab's being a very good person at reacting to his opponents, can pretty much seal out almost any situation.
Yeah, I mean, I could not put it better myself. Moving into round 2 here then, in comes Jirachi using that wish. Suicune throwing up that wall of ice of which he's so fond. Gets the grab the second he sees XAbsoluted blocking, and now he's just hitting and, just really going on the offensive here. But we do see that counter attack into a bone rush from Lucario, and actually that alone was enough to put him in the lead here.
Yes, bone rush being a very paramount move in Lucario's arsenal. XAbsoluted not going in too much. It gets caught out by an Aurora Beam. He's kind of keeping his distance in dual phase, but he goes in field phase, but unfortunately gets overcome by Suicune's counter attack.
He does. Now we do see Suicune there throwing out those Aura Beams, but it's a bone rush here from Lucario coming in really nicely, getting that block up just in time. Both players thought about a counter attack, but then thought better of it and backed away, and now the caginess is real.
Yeah, this is the neutral. Both people staring down with their shields and their counter attacks. If they both activate counter, both of them might think, okay, he might actually hold his counter and get the best of me, so I'm going to back off. Of course, other players thinking the same thing, so we're kind of going backwards and forwards right now, but it seems Zabs now has the advantage going in. They both have burst. It's 12 seconds left. Either of them could take the round here, it depends.
When we saw the Synergy Burst and the Eevee really helping to give him more life, so then we see the Synergy Burst from Lucario, and we see the grab from Suicune. That should be enough to give him the percentage life lead. True Sheer Cold comes out and hits, and he's actually going to win it cleanly.
That as soon as XAbsoluted lost to a grab attack which stopped his burst, he's decided to, you know what, I've got no time left, let me just try and go in as soon as possible. Unfortunately, recognizes that, and you know what, just goes for a burst and catches him within those frames where he was dashing inwards and gets caught by the True Sheer Cold.
Brilliantly timed True Sheer Cold there from Elm, doing very, very nice work. And once again, we saw a situation where both players were preparing themselves to have the life lead when time ran out, but then time didn't run out.
No, I do believe players are, it may seem really bad to us guys, but this is pretty much what could happen pretty much all the time. Like, if you have to win on timeout, then players out there in that very pressurizing environment will have to do it.
They've got to be done. Anything you can do, support Pokemon, burst mode, it's all got to be used. Just like the Bone Rush from Lucario, and now he's really going on the offensive. Suicune missed with that air attack, the jumping attack, and now both players throwing up blocks, but Lucario rushing in gets hit by that wall of water Suicune loves throwing up, and now we see a counter attack from Suicune, and he looks like, he gets the grab. It's not going to finish him off, but it's going to come very close. Suicune here really looking to even it up at 1 set each, and that grab is going to do it.
Very nice cancel from Suicune in field phase to go for the grab. It was just a case of if Lucario can hold his own in field phase and get the phase shift, he can get burst, but unfortunately Elm had all the advantage there. He had the health lead, he had the burst meter lead, and it wasn't looking very well for Absolutely there.
No, it absolutely wasn't. Get it? He's called Absoluted.
XAbsoluted.
Yeah, it was a terrible pun, I'll stop. Now, we do see them tied up at 1 game each here, and now we're in a little bit of a situation because XAbsoluted's thinking, well, you know what, this is looking pretty good for me. I won the first set, I know what I'm doing, I've got this. And Alm's thinking, well, I lost the first set, but I came back and won the second set, I know what I'm doing, I've got this. And now both players, they've got a little bit of confidence because they both won a round, but they've both lost a round, and now it really is going to come down to which of those players can adjust best off what they've seen previously.
Yes, as you said before, it is even Stevens. They both won round and they both lost 1 round, so it's now just a case of who gets the lead here. Whoever gets the lead here could possibly have the momentum for the 4th game to take on, to win the best of 3.
And of course, even this set isn't going to decide it. We are in a best of 5. It's going to take 3 sets to win. Now, we are back in the character select screen. Of course, XAbsoluted, as the loser of that set, does have the opportunity to change his Pokemon, but he's sticking with Lucario, and I don't think we've seen him play anything other than Lucario this weekend.
No,
so
that's
we
his
would
main.
Expect him.
Yeah, that is his main, tried and true. He's going to go for it. Like, this guy, XAbsolute, he has 10,000 games on ranked. 10,000.
10,000 ranked online games.
I kid you not.
That is an awful lot of... You learn a couple of things when you play 10,000 games.
You do indeed.
Oh my goodness, that is a lot of games.
It boggles the mind, doesn't it?
It really does. I'm not even going to try and work out how many hours that is. Now, we do see Lucario going for the grab, but the normal attack from Suicune knocks us into dual phase, took advantage, but then XAbsoluted hits the counter attack, hits with the Bone Rush, and again, with both players charging those counters, not hitting with them yet, but as I say that, in comes Suicune with his counter, and Elm here, he's got the life lead and he hits with another counter attack. He is timing them beautifully this game.
Yeah, interesting miracle right there. I don't know if that was a misinput or maybe he used it as a bait to draw Lucario in so that he can counter with an up-strike counter attack.
Now he does get the grab, does Suicune, knocks Lucario back, throws out those Aura Beams, and now both players starting to block. We do see some counters, but neither player fully committing. Elm looks like he's got this under control, and all he needs is just another hit or two. Not doing those jumping range attacks that we see so often from Suicune players. Doesn't want to be anti-aired, I suppose. Although as I say that, he does actually go with one, but it doesn't do very much.
You know what I'm seeing here? I do believe that Suicune's not attacking anymore, because if he does attack, then Lucario can counter attack dash cancel through the projectiles to charge his burst, and then when he's near enough to try and go for a burst, get his synergy up, he can use Jirachi and fulfill that meter. But we do see a nice burst attack, a nice true sheer cold from Elm to seal out the round.
It's going to seal it out with that true sheer cold. Very nicely done there. Of course, when you've got a life lead like Elm had in that last game, that gives you the freedom to try stuff like that. Maybe it'll be blocked. If it hits, I'm going to win. If it doesn't hit, even if I get punished somehow, I've got such a life lead that I can just throw out the true sheer cold and you never know. And with time running down and a big life lead, it's definitely a risk worth taking.
Yes, now we're going into the second round of this game, and both could have the advantage sooner or later. Like Suicune, you see that his burst meter is halfway through, but if he keeps winning phases, he will definitely get the upper hand on XAbsoluted. We do now see that both people are just staring down each other. They're not really committing to anything right now. Lucario is trying to get in as much as possible, but Suicune is just trying to stay a bit defensive.
And yeah, we see the counter there from Lucario. Gets the grab as Elm puts up the block. Really nicely done there, using that grab to overcome the block. And we see another grab from Lucario. He lost the first game quite convincingly, but he is on the comeback trail here. Very aggressive, gets the extreme speed, knocking Suicune out of the air. That really nice up and A, anti-air attack. And we do see the grab from Suicune now.
Yes, it's looking likely that this could be Elm's game to lose, but he's not going to give up just yet, because if he fights on, he could possibly win a few phases before he loses. If you do win more phases, you do get more synergy, and we see that Suicune has a nice grab. In fact, he could possibly try and go for a synergy burst attack when his meter's full. Maybe he's just thinking, you know what, let me just play this few seconds out, try and get as much synergy as possible. No matter even if I do grab there, it doesn't really matter. I'll just take everything and then wait for game 3. use what I've gained in round 2.
And I think that's what we saw. We saw a very kind of cagey, small attack game 2. Neither player really fully committing there. We didn't see any synergy burst from either player, and I think there was kind of an unspoken agreement there. You know what? Let's sit here at 1 game each with full synergy gauge and take it to game 3.
Yes, indeed. And now we're going to start that round 3, as you say, Ross. And now it's just a case of who's going to win the first field. We see that both people are kind of like edging out their home attack trying to get in, but we do see that Zabs has managed to get the...
Oh, and Suicune gets a grab there, very nicely done. And we're knocked back into field phase where we usually think Suicune has the advantage with all of his range shenanigans, but a Bone Rush going through that grab back into duel phase, but Suicune really just knocks Lucario right back as he came charging in.
That EV call might have been a little bit premature, but however, I do think it's a very good call regardless, because he might be thinking that that Lucario might go for an early burst, so that in case he does burst, he's ready for it.
Absolutely there. Now Suicune trying to keep him at bay. It's not working. Lucario jumps in, thinks about the counter, jumps out, jumps in, thinks about the counter, jumps out, and not very much happening. We saw him try and go for that low weak attack, but it didn't actually work. He was too far away, and there's lots of back and forth and not really committing to much.
Yes, it's just a case of footsies. That's how the neutral's going to be like. Like, if you can't really get anything going, then you're going to back away and try and go back to footsies to try and reset again. We do see a very nice critical tech from Suicune there that goes into a true sheer cold, and that's going to do quite a bit of damage.
And with just 16 seconds left, it's not going to KO Lucario, but it's going to come very, very close. There's the Aurora Beam, which I've been, I think, saying wrong a couple of times. It is Aurora Beam, but in comes Lucario.
It's a lost hit situation. Will he grab? Will he take the hit? And I do believe he does.
He hits with the extreme speed there.
Very crucial EV there. He takes the life lead,
and
but
he gets
does
the grab.
Get grabbed.
This should be enough to give him the life lead, and it is 15% to 6. That is how XAbsoluted wins the set.
Oh, that was a very crucial EV there, but unfortunately Zabs does win with a very nice prediction to take pretty much the round, and now it's 2 games to 1 in XAbsoluted's favor. Which
means XAbsoluted is just 1 set from winning this matchup, going through in the winner's bracket. Of course, we've already seen Rubs go through the winner's bracket, and we've already seen Fabulous go through the winner's bracket. So, yeah, we're looking to add a 3rd one going through here, and as it stands, it looks like XAbsoluted is in control. It looks like he's going to be going through, but then again, we've seen some very close games. I mean, really, it was that last-minute grab in the last game that gave him the life lead and put him through that 2nd set. We're seeing very close games, and the thing about close games is that all it takes is 1 or 2 little things, and then it's the other player winning.
Yes, I do definitely agree with you there. It's just a case of, like, when you do get a hit in, and then you realize that that's what's worked, you're going to do it again, and then if that does work again, you're going to be like, right, I'm more confident to go in and commit, and then combo with what I just started. We're going to see the match now. We do see the same characters, and, you know, we're just going to see what happens here. What do you think is going to happen, Ross?
I don't really know. I mean, I think for Lucario, we're going to see a lot of bone rushes. I think we're going to see some extreme speeds knocking him out of the air. There's some things XAbsolute has been doing a lot. For Elm, some of what he's been trying has been working, some hasn't. We've seen a lot of grabs and counters that we expect. We've not seen many of those jumping projectiles. We saw very few Aurora Beams in the last game. We've not seen many Hails. He's switching it up a little bit, is Elm, this game.
Yes, we do see Suicune a little bit on the defensive. He's holding his shield quite a lot, which does get punished by his grab.
And we saw the extreme speed there that XAbsolute has been liking. We're seeing grabs. XAbsoluted is not doing much different from what he's been doing so far. We're seeing bone rushes, and it's working. We're seeing a lot of counter attacks trying in duel phase, and there we see just a couple of attacks there from Lucario, getting rid of that grab, and it's really working so far. Although we do see Elm with a grab there.
Yes, it's a case now. What is going to be Elm's thought process in this next few phases? I think he's going to try and go a bit more aggressive now, because he realized that he got grabbed twice earlier in the game. So maybe he was going to go for a little bit more of an aggressive attack. Although he is still keeping his guard, you can still, he's just trying to react now. Really, they're both holding his shields, waiting for one to react so that the other can react to the other. And we do see that it's working in Elm's favor. It's now pretty much even. Lucario is nearly at burst. He might try and very nice tech there from Abs, and now he's got burst. with 10 seconds left, I think he's now going to use it as he does now, and now it's just a case of should I go in, or should I just hold? Should I go in with my burst attack like he does now, or should I just hold the game?
Oh, and he gets it! The burst attack didn't do enough, but he did get a little attack after that to actually go through and win. Now remember, you cannot win on chip damage, so if your opponent's holding up a block, you cannot beat them with a chip damage, but he did finish it off right at the end there.
Yes, I do think that Elm just didn't want to deal with the burst pressure, so maybe he just shielded a lot, which of course was blocked by the burst attack, but unfortunately, after the burst was blocked, Elm tried to go in, and unfortunately it didn't work.
No, just that one little attack from Lucario finished it off. And now, of course, Lucario's on match point. XAbsoluted needs to win this game, and he is going through the winner's bracket, joining Rubs and Fabulous. So we do see a switch back there into field phase, and Lucario, he's just running around, doing some flips, doing some bone rushing, but does get caught with that grab. Of course, he's got the life lead here.
Right, I also want to point out, if you do see Lucario randomly using an attack from a distance, that's Force Palm, and what Force Palm's special, tidbit is that it charges synergy. So he might use it twice to get a little bit of synergy, even though he's away from his opponent, he's actually charging.
Yes, it's a very nice play. It's something that the top level players do, because Synergy Burst, we've seen the advantage it can give you. Now we see a double Synergy Burst, one with Jirachi, one without, and now the caginess is back. Neither player really wants to do much. I don't think that's going to hit. No, we saw the block. So now it's up to Suicune. Can he see an opening for that true sheer cold? And he does, maybe. Yes, he does. Hits Lucario as he's standing up, and True Sheer Cold here is going to do an awful lot of damage.
Although it put him in the lead right now, it's just a case now of whether Elm is going to keep his distance since he has the life lead, or he's going to try and go in. Unfortunately, he does get caught by the Bone Rush, and now XAbsoluted is now in the lead, and a very bad
catched him from behind with that Bone Rush. All he needs is one more hit. Sorry, Solomon, I'm getting too excited, but we do see Suicune with a grab there. But there's only 0.1 second left.
Yeah.
He's got it.
He's got it.
XAbsoluted has done it. He wins the third set. He goes through the winner's bracket. XAbsoluted is moving on.
I think the case of when Elm used Blizzard, that was like a Hail Mary, Hail Mary situation, because not many people use Blizzard. Like it's a good move, but if you're in the air and you do see it, you can react with a counter attack. And yeah, it didn't work in Elm's favor.